either at or very near this Sierra camp. So I want to spend a little bit of time, and for the first time we're kind of coming out of the closet on this. No, me and Ron are not coming out of the closet. No. We're coming out of the closet with some of the things that's happened there that initially we had decided we weren't going to tell anybody about. Right? But because there's so many new people here that have not had a chance to hear some samplings of the tape, and let me show you a little bit of what cryptolinguistics do as far as to analyze language recordings and to transcribe them. That's the basic talent that's needed to do this study. You here to help with volume if I need it? I have found one of the best things to do is just to turn the tape on and let you listen to the first 20-30 seconds of it. This makes my argument for language. Okay? Not that I don't have a pretty good write-up making that argument, but once people listen to it, they don't need that, as you'll see. This is real time. Got it? I'm getting that curve. Can you hear that? Let's get into this. You're not hearing that very well, are you? I'm not going to spend a lot of time going over this and analyzing it here in real time for you. I just want to show you how we would take this section, loop it, slow it down, and analyze it. Just so that you can kind of see the process of it. So I'm just going to take this section here, isolate it, put that on loop. We can shorten the loop. Cryptolinguists might sit for an hour under cans. So now just a couple of seconds worth of language here to get it transcribed correctly. Okay? So we'll just take a little spot. We'll just okay. So I've narrowed the isolation of the utterance that we're looking at here. I'm going to slow it down here. Either no for Kenya or mo for Kenya, N and O being very close phonetically. I'll show you what the transcription itself looks like. And I think where is it? Right here. You see it right there. That's the first part of that little utterance that I played for you. Okay. Now, this is pretty time consuming, right? So it took several months just to get through it the first time. Then you go over it again, you go over it again, you consult with other cryptolinguists. One of the guys that I consulted with was one of the only guys that I knew that had possibly spent more hours sitting in the cans listening to the human voice on tapes than I had. Right? And that was the guy who trained me, a guy by the name of Ralph Blessing in the Navy. I see we've got some Navy guys here. Yeah. What was your job in the Navy? A what? AT? Did you know any CTs? You didn't associate with those shiny shoe types, huh? But you were a shiny shoe type too, right? Well, Ralph Blessing, my supervisor, probably the only guy that I know of that spent more hours, thousands of hours, sitting and listening to the human voice on tape. That's why, upon my first sampling of these tapes, I knew immediately that this was not a human being, like any human being I had ever listened to. And I've listened to thousands of human beings on tape. Then, once I got in touch with Ron Moorhead and Alan Berry, they confirmed that they had these tapes looked at in the 70s. They had been analyzed on a spectrum analysis, which is not something that CTs do, right? The linguists. And this was a scientific type linguist, and he had done all the spectral analysis on it, and he had shown that these creatures or beings speak in lower frequencies and much higher frequencies than the human being is capable of. So yeah, now yesterday I said, after playing a little bit of this, I said, this is not human. And then someone said, well, what do you mean by that? I said, I'm not saying that they're not like us. I said, well, I mean, that they're not human. If they are human, they're just simply a different type of human than we are. The second thing I immediately recognized from this is that they do indeed have a language. Okay? They speak at approximately 50% faster than we do. Okay? Twice as fast. So, twice as fast as we do. Is there anyone here that has a question or argument with that, having heard the tape? Yes.
You see that they speak 50% faster than us.
I ought to be 50%, I mean 100% faster.
Is their thought process the same?
That's a good question. That's a question for psycholinguistics, really. You know, if they speak so much faster than we do, the question was, does their mind move faster than ours does?
The Yankees don't.
Huh?
I said, the Yankees don't think faster than we do, they just talk faster.
People from New York.
Oh, yes, yes. Or when we're mad. When we're mad. Or, does that mean our minds are working faster? Not necessarily. Sometimes some people speak faster. Up in the north, they speak faster than people in the south, you could say. Right? We're not sure that human beings speak as fast as their minds can move. Some of us are grateful for that. Because our minds outstrip, our mouths outstrip our minds sometimes. It's just, so that would be a hard thing to say.
Okay.
I would say not necessarily. And of course, being a human being, I don't want to admit that a Sasquatch being can think twice as fast as me.
All right.
Right? However, they do talk twice as fast. And in their conversational turns, when one answers another, they're doing it so quickly, they're almost stepping on each other in their responses. Just in this section here, we have two creatures talking back and forth. But it's difficult to tell where one begins and where one stops and the other begins. That's 50%. We played at 100. See, there are two creatures going back and forth on there, and the one does not let the, like many married couples. Probably. These are probably a married couple here. They've probably been together a long time. One is stepping on the other one, and, you know, anticipating what the question is that she's asking. Or he's, I guess.
Why did you get two lines? Why is that?
That's just that particular transcription program. It's designed for music, you know, so it's got,
It's not the conversation.
it has nothing to do with this. Now let me move on here, and I'm going to give me and Dave and Tom are going to have plenty of time to answer some questions, but keep them in mind. Keep them in mind, because I really want to get to a couple other things. I found it necessary about a year ago, because of a lot of the evidence that I was receiving over the internet, through the mail, little tapes, those little miniature CDs that you plug in here, with little clips of different utterances that the witnesses thought were good utterances. But I was also getting dozens of just emails saying, hey, I heard him say this. I heard him say, hey, get the hell out, or whatever. And so what we needed, and of course it's spelled out in Southern English. So I realized that we needed to standardize the documentation of the evidence. Otherwise, the study could not move forward. So that is, that's why a year ago at the Oregon Sasquatch Symposium, I put out what we're calling the Sasquatch phonetic alphabet. And this is the cover letter. I'm just going to read you part of the cover letter here because it kind of explains the reason why I thought I needed to do it. And by the way, it's helped. And I hope it will help you help me. Since I became involved in Sasquatch research a little over 2 years ago, I have received dozens of emails from around the country involving first-hand witness accounts, many containing recorded audio files of perceived Sasquatch language. Virtually all of these have included an attempt to spell out Sasquatch, quote, words using standard English. This is of little value to the language researcher, since English is notoriously non-phonetic and is subject to widely varied local dialects. Since our ultimate goal is the recovery of Sasquatch language, I have found it necessary to establish a phonetic alphabet and transcription standard based on the transcription of the Barry-Moorhead tapes, by which the contrast and comparison of all future suspected language can be facilitated. To this end, as a tool in future language research, I'm requesting that this attached standard be published on research websites and that it be copied and distributed freely. So if you pick, I've got hard copies of this back here on the table. I'm asking $1 just to help pay for the trip to the copy store. If you pick one of these up, I'm asking you to copy it as much as you can possibly can and get it out to as many Sasquatch field researchers as you can. Okay? With this, I'm also requesting local investigators begin using this alphabet as soon as possible to accurately document any perceived Sasquatch language. And then I go on, and the work is written in the style of a military cryptologic standard of procedure, etc., etc. Okay? It's my belief there's nothing more important at this early stage of Sasquatch language study than to standardize the documentation of evidence. And this is essentially what it is here. It's pretty self-explanatory.